Well, Smiles from Black Film TV talking to Jazz Raycole regarding the second season of The Lincoln Lawyer, which is playing on Netflix. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Sometimes when you get the first season of any show, it's always about introducing characters and seeing how far they're going to go. Now that we have a second season, specifically nowadays on TV, people can be committed. Because you as I've seen lately, there's a lot of shows that have only lasted one season. And so sometimes you don't want to get emotionally involved in shows unless you know there's a second season and that
Yeah.
tells you the network or the streaming service, whatever, is
Mhm.
committed. And
Yeah.
so now that we're here, what are we getting from Izzy this season?
This season, Izzy is in a transition period of her life. The first season, it takes place in about 2 weeks, and we pick up the second season 6 months later. And she's in a very different place than she was when we met her. Very, very different.
Mhm. So throughout this whole time, how have your driving skills improved?
I've been a fantastic driver. Ask my father. He says the best driver ever. My driving skills are incredible. And the Lincoln only makes it even more obvious of how good a driver I am. That's all I'm gonna say.
Now we all know there's going to be a camera in the car, but when you auditioned or did it come to you, was being a driver part of the process?
No, 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 no. They stuck me in a car for rehearsals. They're like, "Okay, just get in it and we'll just drive around." And I was like, "Okay." That car is huge. So they usually have to put me up on a booster seat, which is so embarrassing, because I'm so short and I can't see over the dash. But yeah, no, it was no. We take the car out and I drive it, but they're like, "Get in the car, drive, go for it."
Mhm. And how close is he going to be with with the lead character in the show? Obviously, they got close because he hired her, but now that we're into season two, there are other characters in the show. Is the bond still the same with
I think
Mickey?
the bond I think the bond only grows. I think they very much have a brother-sister type relationship, and they give it to each other real and raw, and they're the only people in each other's lives that do that. And they genuinely care about each other. This season, though, Izzy gets more in the office, and there's a lot of relationships that develop outside of Mickey, which I think is pretty cool to watch.
Mhm. And then, when you work with this cast, and there's a few of you that are the core cast members, how much have you bonded, since it got renewed and now you can complete it, 2 seasons at least?
Well, I think we all bonded the first season. Angus is my spirit animal. Our birthdays are the day after each other. And when he's not in Australia with his family, we are attached at the hip. I love that man. And it's the same for everybody. Becky, Manuel, Nev, like we really do show up for each other often on set.
Mhm.
And I think that was solidified just being excited to go back to work the first season after COVID. We were the only people that we could hang out with. We had to be in our little filming bubble. And so I think that really gave us the bond. And you see it on the show. You see the relationships and the love and the care we have for each other on the show.
The good thing about the writing is that it's not a straight drama. There's a little bit of humor in there.
Mhm.
You get from different characters at different times.
Yeah.
You've been given a couple of lines that it's supposed to meant as a humor. Do you see yourself having funny bones?
Yeah, I mean, Izzy in and of herself is kind of a funny character. She's like the one that's very calm, cool, and collected, but will read you in a second and you won't even know that she read you. Um, so yeah, I think she has some funny bones for sure.
Mhm. And then you've been working a long period of time. Obviously, people look at your credits and like, okay, you're a little bit of a vet, over a decade in this game, but actors can never stop learning. What have you learned so far by being on the series, having completed 2 seasons, that helps your skill set as an actress?
Um, I mean, every time you get through a second season of a show, there's a clarity about who your character is. You go through the first season, you're trying to find your footing, you're trying to figure out who this character is, what's working, what's not. The second season, you kind of get to ground yourself in that. And that's what I like about having a season, the second season. Is it gives you more time to explore the character and see where she's going. What's the journey? And the first season is usually just like the now, the present. You know what I'm saying? Making the present moment everything that it can be. But the second season's really about the journey and the growth.
Do we see Izzy more in the car or outside of the car throughout the second season?
Outside of the car. Yeah, she gets in the office a bit, which is so much fun because it's a whole different world. And the first season, I really only had scenes with Mickey Manuel, and we have a great time. He's a goofball, like the biggest goofball. But we didn't really get to, be in scenes together, me and the rest of the cast. It was all offset, and it was really a lot of fun. Like, we had a lot of fun this season.
Mhm. And so now that obviously, as you just mentioned, Izzy's seen outside of the car and into the office, it's more like a group now. It's now more of a team as opposed to like, you know, there's Izzy and Mickey, that relationship, and then there's Mickey and his ex-wives and their
Yes.
relationship. Now
Yes.
everybody can be put together.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's cool because there's all these different connections that we all have. And the way that we talk to each other and show up for one another, it's very interesting to kind of see how the relationships unfold when everybody's in a room together. It's very interesting. It's really specific.
Mhm. Now that you have to do this, and obviously, when you have a show like this and it has the visibility, people are starting to know you, and they start, oh, this is the one that used to be on this show or that show. When do you get to be yourself, where you don't have to worry about what's going to be on social media nowadays, because people do recognize you. You never know. When can you be? How do you stay humble?
I don't really pay attention to social media. I suck at social media. I mean, I've been acting for a long time, and my mom made it very, very easy for me being a child actor. Work is work, and when you leave work, you're a normal kid. And that I take into my life now. Work is work. And when I'm home, when I'm doing my daily life, I'm doing my daily life. I'm a human being living and going through my own journey. And that's where I leave it. And I think that's where it should be left. You can't help what other people are going to bring to you. And when they bring it to you, then you deal with it. But other than that, you go on living, you just go through the journey.
Mhm. Outside of the show, do you work on other projects? Is there anywhere else we could see you or hear you or see?
All the things. I'm hoping to start producing. This writer strike has kind of thrown a wrench in some things for everyone. So we'll see what happens going forward. It's just everything's kind of a mess right now. We just don't know.
Haven't
But
been. So you've
go ahead.
seen enough to say I can produce now.
I produced a play a few years ago.
Okay.
Like right before COVID, I produced a play and starred in it, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever done, and one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. And so I know I can produce that. Producing TV and film is a whole different arena. I'm fortunate enough to my best friend's a line producer and walks me through a lot, and I've done a lot of shadowing and read a lot of books. And I think that's the next evolution of my career. Is
Okay.
getting behind the camera, the creative side of it.
Yeah, we definitely need more women. I think they're already out there. I wouldn't say we need more women. I think they're there. It's just a matter of getting visibility and in the spotlight. So
Yeah,
like it's not a question of we need more. They're there. We just got to find them.
gotta find it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
completely agree with that.
So at the end of the day, for which as much product that there is out there nowadays, and that's what I always say is it doesn't matter how good or bad a show can be. It's all about letting people know that it's out there. Now
Yeah.
that we have Netflix was one of the first, but now we have a glut of streaming services along with what's in theaters and what's on other cable shows. What's a good reason to start catching up of the Lincoln Lawyer if you haven't seen it before?
It's relatable. It's relatable, and we also have a very diverse cast. And I find it to be there's a lot of things in our show. There's suspense, there's drama, there's comedy, there's love. It's about second chances. It's about forgiveness, and everybody's kind of going through their own journey, and everybody's journey on the show is different. And it's also, I mean, it's a crime thing, and it's very much a who done it, and I am always attracted to that. But I think it's relatable. I think that's what I can say is it's like most people say it's a feel good show.
And that's all you need to say. Well, thanks for definitely taking the time. Obviously, we want to start talking about Lincoln Lawyer so people can catch up on it, so that people know about it. obviously, we want to support the work you've done, and wherever else you may come up. And then obviously, whenever, these talks get through and things can calm down a bit, we'll see what's out there for you to produce.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
All right.